How do people with disabilities find and connect with others online?
And what if traditional social media doesn't meet an individual's special needs?
This is Enable the Disability Podcast, where we'll share stories, experiences, support, resources, and more for people with disabilities and different abilities. We are at Enable Podcast on social media. My name is Deaf Jeff Herbert.
And my name is Kurt Hower. We're talking with Kelsey Oats, the founder of Self-Advocacy Wins, a social media platform designed specifically for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Kelsey, please tell us about yourself and your experiences growing up with autism.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm originally from Boston, and now I live in Los Angeles. And I actually I didn't get diagnosed until I was 24. So even though I did grow up with autism, I didn't really grow up with the experience that other people might have had, where they grew up with the diagnosis and sort of with the understanding. And it was in large part because growing up, school was a really great environment for me. Not that I didn't have my struggles, but getting the built-in socialization by just going to classes with people, getting to study different subjects, getting to do extracurriculars. It was just really, really great for my needs. And so once I went to college, that's when I started to really have a lot of more problems. And then the diagnosis at 24.
We also have Cam, who served as an advisor on product development for Self-Advocacy Wins. Thank you for joining us, Cam.
Thank you for having me.
Cam, please tell us about yourself and a little bit about your experiences with disabilities.
I was born with CP. For those of you who do not know, CP stands for cerebral palsy.
Now, before we talk about your platform, what challenges do you see in traditional social media for people with special needs?
So I think there's several. One is that when we talk about accessibility, I think a lot of people don't talk about accessibility for people with intellectual disabilities. And in terms of, so I'm a user experience designer. So I want to make an app as easy as possible to use. I want people to be able to just open it up and use it. And with a lot of apps, there's just so much going on that it's very confusing, kind of what to click, where to go. So just sort of the accessibility of the design is something. Another issue that comes up a lot is safety and making sure that self-advocates, as a lot of my friends, is the term a lot of my friends like to use, and making sure self-advocates are safe. And especially with dating, that becomes a really big issue. There's also accessibility for other disabilities. Like Instagram does not have alt text, for example, built in, which is crazy because it's a visual platform. You'd think that would be baked in, but like every now and then you'll see people add it into their description, but it's not an official thing. And then just not having enough peers. Like a lot of people, even if they are able to use these websites, even if they're able to use, for example, a dating website or a dating app, there's just not that many other people with IDD. So they're just not going to match with anybody who's sort of in their community. So really just making sure that there's a platform for people that is safe, accessible, and has people from their own community for them to connect with.
So on your site, I noticed that there was something called Find a Friend, and you talked a little bit about dating and, just connecting people. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So Find a Friend and Find a Date are both similar in how they work. They work as a search. Once we get enough people, hopefully it'll be a really robust way to search for friends and for dates. For dating, you have to enable the dating plan. And so you only show up in the dating search if you have enabled the dating plan. So if you don't want to deal with the dating stuff, you don't have to. And it's based on, in your profile, we ask you questions and you can answer with text. You can write in your answer. You can just select a couple words that we've already given you, or you can upload a video. And so the search will go through and search profile answers. So for example, if I'm talking about Chapel Roan in my profile a lot, and then you search, okay, I want to find a friend who also likes Chapel Roan, I would pop up because it's searching my profile answers. I'm hoping that people will be able to connect with each other. One of the issues that we run into is that a lot of people with IDD tend to be very isolated. Like, for example, we work with a lot of people in group homes, and they tend to maybe go to an activity, but because of the staffing requirements and kind of the situation, they might just stay with the people that they already live with, and they might not really connect with other people. So we're hoping that this is a great platform for people to connect with new people. And there's a robust chat built in with content moderation and reporting. So again, kind of always bringing it back to safety and accessibility.
So, what all went into the process of building a social media platform for people with IDD?
It's been quite a journey. I am really lucky. I got the idea, and then I happened to see an ad for the GoPen Fellowship, which is out of Boston. It's Massachusetts Developmental Disability Council and the Institute for Community Inclusion out of UMass Boston. And it was a fellowship for people with developmental disabilities who are doing a project on disability. And it doesn't have to be your same disability. And I also, in the fall, went to the social impact cohort program at Cambridge Innovation Center, which was an accelerator program for idea stage businesses that are in the social impact space. And so I learned a ton from that. But a lot of it's just been me on my computer designing, and then I used AI to code it and checking in with self-advocates along the way, making sure everything looks good, making sure everything is working, and that the design is actually doing what I wanted to do. So it's been probably a year and a half of working on it more so intensely since last fall. So it's in the beta store now, the iOS app. It's looking good. So I'm hopeful that will be kind of really like launching like in the app store, just easy to download in maybe a month or two.
Now, you mentioned that you can find friends, you can find a date, but the name of the platform is Self-Advocacy Wins. What does that mean to you?
So one of the things that I wanted to do was create a space for positivity. So instead of just calling them posts, I call them wins. The goal is to create a safe space, no bullying.
And how does that work?
Say that you're in a group, you want to become in a group with people, and then you put down like, hey, I graduated. This is my win for the day. People can like it and comment and be like, good job, keep going. This is amazing. Because we're always about trying to uplift each other, trying to make things better for everyone.
I love that. And I also love that it's called Self-Advocacy Wins.
Mm-hmm.
What does self-advocacy mean to you?
Self-advocacy to me means a lot of things. For the majority of my life, to be honest, I couldn't speak. So I went through a bunch of therapy and things like that to get to where I am today. Now and in general, I feel like everybody should be able to have their own voice heard and be able to be in the room. When I was younger, my parents used to do everything for me, and I wanted to take on that role. That's how it got started for me.
I love all the progress that you've made, and congratulations on graduating as well.
Thank you.
What kinds of experiences do you have with self-advocacy yourself?
I work in the self-advocacy field, and I work for a little bit for this self-advocacy group in Massachusetts called Mass Advocates Standing Strong. And I've learned all about self-advocacy from them. And so I think to me, self-advocacy means standing up for yourself. It means learning how to use your voice, because not everybody has a physical voice. Some people are using AAC devices. Some people are writing. Some people are more comfortable working with a supporter. So just learning sort of how to use your voice in terms of what you're passionate about and what you care about. And we want to encourage people with IDD to be excited about being independent, about working towards more autonomy and just embracing who they are. One area where I've had a lot of self-advocacy practice is in the medical field, and in terms of me getting help and me getting treatment. And I've always been somebody who, if I'm having a problem, I'll try to look for somebody to help me. And one specific example, struggled with depression for a really long time, and just none of the treatments were working. I was in and out of the hospital, and I heard about ketamine therapy, and nobody had mentioned it to me. I just had to like learn about it on my own. I had to pursue it. And at first, the doctor that I was seeing didn't want to give it to me. And he was like, we'll do another round of TMS. And so, but I just kept advocating for myself. And finally, I got it. It changed my life. I feel so much better now. Like I feel like I was in a 15-year coma and now I'm awake. So I know it doesn't work for everybody, but it worked really well for me. And so that's, I think, a huge thing for other people to know is even if people are telling you no, I mean, sometimes they're correct. Sometimes you shouldn't do something. But if just because people are telling you no doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't do something. It might mean they're wrong. It might mean you need to do something in an alternative way, but it doesn't have to be the final say.
Well said. This is Enable, the Disability Podcast. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We love to share different stories because even when it feels like it, you're not alone. We're not defined solely by the things we can't do when there's so many things we can do.
See, we'd like to know more about your life and what you do like to do outside of work and kind of some things that make you tick.
I just like to be around friends, talk to people. Very naturey, outgoing person. So like I like to go to concerts. I like nature. I like going out for runs and walks.
Being autistic and having ADHD, one of the kind of hallmarks is not really being able to do just one thing. So I also am very, very passionate about music and songwriting, and I've been working on developing that as well. That's something that I used to love to do and then couldn't for many years. So once I started feeling better, I dove back into it. I want to be able to do Self-Advocacy Wins, really grow the platform, as well as be a songwriter. I'm working on some musicals. One is about a young woman with Down syndrome. Other ones are about different people. I'm also working on a new song that will be the official song of Self-Advocacy Wins, and I'm looking for a self-advocate. I'm about to start looking for a self-advocate who can sing it. Maybe we can do a music video, tie it into the app and the launch. I love making people feel good about themselves. So I really love the idea of self-advocates seeing someone like them doing something really cool and just getting to celebrate that and getting to sing along and getting to dance along and just be a part of something. So I'm really excited about that as well.
I love music too. I also work as a DJ outside of this podcast in my regular 9-to-5 job. As someone who's hard of hearing, so that means like planning and preparing for a lot of situations. I try and be in situations where I can read people's lips or I'm close enough to speakers so I can hear them as best as possible. What about yourself? Did you experience any challenges when you're going out with friends and family?
I'll just add, I made sure to put sub bass in so that people will feel the vibrations.
Yes.
I'm pretty lucky. I don't have that many. My sensory stuff issues are more around like touch and that sort of thing. So I'm pretty lucky. I know a lot of people on the spectrum have a lot of sensory issues with sound and lights. I do get sensory overload. I will go into sensory shutdowns. So it's sort of like I have to go out in the world. The world is noisy, has a lot of stimulation. So it's just finding the balance between how much I want to do that versus how much recovery time I can take. But compared to some other people, I definitely have it a little bit easier.
Well, one of the things that we're trying to do is help people understand people with disabilities. And what do you wish more people knew or understood about you or others with a similar experience?
I know for a lot of people, just making people aware of how inaccessible the world is. Like, for example, in my hometown, in the downtown, all the buildings for some reason are up 3 steps. And to somebody without a physical disability, they might not even notice that there are steps because it's just a few. But if you are using a wheelchair, 3 steps is 1 step too many. So there's just a lot built in, doors being too heavy, doors not opening automatically, elevators being too small, not having accessible bathrooms. So there's just a world of, I mean, it's a snippet, but there's a world of inaccessibility that a lot of us who don't have physical disabilities don't necessarily see. So that's something that I've learned a lot about from other self-advocates over the years. I think in terms of myself and autism is such a spectrum, but for sort of myself, people who are more like me and kind of like have similar traits and have similar life journeys, I would just like people to know that I know I seem fine. I know I went to college, I'm well spoken, I'm smart, I can do a lot of things, but I still struggle. Like, I can't do a 9 to 5. I can do other stuff. I can do really cool things when I have the opportunity to, but the 9 to 5 just doesn't work for me. And I have trouble, my outside social skills are fine, but socialization is really hard for me. So I just wish people would understand that it's really an iceberg, like an iceberg, where I seem very capable and I seem very like typical, but what people aren't seeing are the struggles, are the barriers. I just wish people, I don't want to be underestimated, but I feel like sometimes I'm too overestimated. And so I just kind of wish people would be like, oh, right, just because you don't have the physical traits of autism doesn't mean you're any less autistic.
Yeah, one of our other guests, I think, said it well, and it's something small that everyone can do, is have a little bit more empathy and grace.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for taking the time to share your experience in your app. Do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Dream big and don't let anybody stop you or tear you down. And I realized the more you hang out with the people that love you, the more you'll realize like why you're here and why you're doing what you're doing. Just continue to be yourself no matter what anybody else says or does.
Absolutely.
I just want to thank the disability community. I know I'm part of it, but I don't have an intellectual disability, and I've really been welcomed by folks with the intellectual disability. And I just really appreciate how everyone's been so responsive to the app. Everyone's really excited. Everyone's been so encouraging to me. Also, people who work in the disability field are just really nice, much nicer than I think other industries. So I just really appreciate that everyone has like welcomed me in with open arms.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining us. This is Enable, the Disability Podcast. We are at Enable Podcast on social media. Please like, follow, and subscribe.
And please share this podcast with your family and friends so we can share more stories of people with disabilities, different abilities, and bring us all together.